Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you stopping to talk. You want to start by introducing yourself?
I'm Ben.
Ben. Nice. Brandon.
What's up, Brandon?
Nice talking to you. So, you asked why you should be vegan. I'm going to start by defining veganism, and then you tell me what you agree with, what you disagree with, all right? So, veganism is an ideology that rejects the commodification of animals, right? So that means we don't want to use them, abuse them, or kill them for food, clothing, entertainment, or anything else. All right? So something about that you disagree with.
Probably like the abuse part, like for entertainment. Like, I don't hunt or nothing. Like, I just.
That's what you agree with. You agree that we shouldn't abuse animals for entertainment and stuff.
Yeah, not for entertainment, for sure.
So what's the differentiation between entertainment or something like food or clothing?
Because, well, people need to survive, like, to eat food. Like, it comes from the earth. It's Mother Nature's. They give it to us so we can eat it. And it goes back into the earth.
Sure. So a couple things about that, right? So we actually don't need animal products to survive, right? So when it comes to human beings, we ate animal products for a long time because there was a scarcity of food probably. But now in our modern day, in Massachusetts here especially, there's no reason to eat animal products. You could get plenty of calories, all of the nutrients you need, as well as protein from plant-based foods. That's not just me saying it. Also, we have the best peer-reviewed research that shows you don't need anything in animal products to live healthily and thrive, right? And the other thing, when you said it's Mother Nature, how over 95% of animal products are produced is not Mother Nature. So we actually breed them in factories. We keep them in cages. They end up getting tortured because of the genetic modification. And then we also kill them by the billions, right? So to suggest that that is like a Mother Nature thing, it's actually human-made. We actually do that to the animals.
But doesn't humans make plants too? Like, we grow crops. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same how we, like, breed animals. They come from the earth, crops come from the earth, animals come from the earth, we come from the earth, we breed each other.
So I guess I'll make a differentiation, right? The reason why what we do to plants isn't immoral and what we do to animals is, other sentient animals, is because they are sentient, right? And just for the video, if you're unfamiliar, sentience is the ability to feel pain, feel joy, experience life, right? So cows, chickens, pigs, dogs, cats, humans, chimpanzees, elephants, all of those animals are sentient. Like, if you kick a dog, it's going to feel pain. If you pet a dog, it's going to feel joy. Same thing applies to all of the other sentient animals, including cows, chickens, and pigs, right? So that's why when you say, well, we do the same thing with plants, that's true. We do grow crops ourselves. We plant them, we grow them. But crops are not sentient, which means they don't feel pain, don't have an experience.
Question, do vegans eat oysters and clams? Because they don't feel pain. They don't have brains, they don't have nerves. They're sentient.
Yeah, so, no, they're not sentient. Supposedly, yeah. There's debate amongst vegans. So I have no interest in animal products, but I haven't seen any good research one way or the other. Supposedly, like, there's no brain in oysters, but they do have ganglia, nerve ganglia, so that means they are feeling something. So I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to the experts. I haven't seen any good research. But what I would say is when it comes to, like, clams or any other type of crustaceans, the actual grabbing of them or fishing of them is incredibly harmful and does kill other sentient animals in the process. Oh yeah, so oysters I know are a little bit different, but I know that in some some of those animals, maybe like scallops or something, they have to literally dig the entire ocean floor. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, oysters, if that was the last animal product on Earth that was consumed, and there was research showing that most likely, or if not definitely, they're not sentient, I wouldn't break bones over it, but I'm gonna like lean on the side of caution here and say we probably shouldn't eat those either.
All right.
So back to the discussion about the the morality of what we do to animals. So you mentioned food and clothing because we need it. It's Mother Nature, right? So I think I've done a pretty good job of, like, explaining why that's not correct, right?
Well, I feel like for centuries, like millions of years, people all over the world have used animals as their everything.
Food source, yeah.
Like,
clothing,
it's their everything. Like, they make houses out of them. They make clothes. They make everything.
Yeah,
they
I
use the
understand.
entire animal.
Yeah, they were used as a resource, of course. So,
But without them, people, if everyone just ate plants, then, like, what if you couldn't eat plants? Because there's places that are, like, in the middle of the plains, like, they don't have resources for, like, other plants except for wheat.
Yeah.
You know?
So, couple things, right? what you did for the first statement is it's called an appeal to nature, right? So just because we did something before isn't a justification for us to continue doing it, right? I'm sure we could both sit here and think about horrible things that we used to do for thousands of years, whether it be slavery, sexual assault, other forms of human oppression, that we have chosen to get away from because we recognize it cause harm, right? So just because we did eat animal products at some point, or for a long time even, doesn't mean it's actually a justification to continue doing it, right? And in terms of the resource thing, again, I'm talking to people in Massachusetts. I would still argue like the biggest reason why there are areas of the world that are so food scarce, where they have to rely on animal products, is probably due to either a systemic issue or, again, just a resource thing. And again, I'm not necessarily focused on the people that literally have no food except for the wild, the game that they can find, that are literally starving. Those people have not just problems of, they kill animals to eat, they're dying of disease, they're dying of cold, there's a lot of issues there. I'm talking to the majority of people in the US who at least have access to food, whether it be grocery stores, whether it be whatever it is, right, restaurants. So especially here in Plymouth, downtown Plymouth. So we can definitely focus on improving the well-being and the lives of people who are suffering, right, in those areas that are scarcely, or that have a scarcity of food or resources, right? But what is your justification for continuing to contribute to the death of billions of sentient animals?
Well, I go to the gym a lot, and eating protein-based foods is usually like meat, just like chicken, beef, lamb, anything really.
Yeah.
Like pork.
Yeah, and I would say the reason why your brain immediately goes, protein, so it must be animal products, is mostly an education thing. Because there's plenty of high-protein foods that are found within plants. I'll name a few. So you have whole grains, like rice, pastas, oats. You have beans and legumes, like black beans, pinto beans, lentils, chickpeas. You have
those are
edamame.
Carbohydrates. There's like lean proteins, like beef, like chicken, like lean beef as well, and like those will help you build muscle faster. If you're eating carbohydrates all the time, you're just gonna build like mass. You're not gonna build as much lean muscle as you want.
So that's actually not true at all. So I could tell like you sound kind of like a bro science guy. I get it. That's what gym people say online. But if you actually look at the research, I'll show you a picture after. I powerlifted for years, right? I did a lot of research. I have a background in nutrition. There's actually no research that supports plant-based protein being any slower, any less effective than animal-based proteins. In fact, they're
How do they
equal.
get like plant-based protein? What do you mean by plant-based protein? Like
so, and again, most foods have a combination of macronutrients. So like even the meat you eat, right? There is protein, but there's also a lot of fat in meat, depending on the cuts you get, right? So just because there are carbs in plants, that doesn't mean there's any negative health side effects, and it doesn't mean it's any less effective. So like, if in a half a cup of lentils there's 15 grams of protein, it doesn't matter if there's 20 grams of carbs, there's 15 grams of protein in that cup of lentils. And the best research we have shows that actually a high carb, relatively lower fat diet is the healthiest for human health, prevent against heart disease and most of our other chronic diseases.
that's probably true. Like eating your vegetables, that's good for you. Just eating grains. I know I eat like oats and everything like that, but I'll still choose to eat like a nice steak at dinner just because it's less than. Just think about the amount you have to add up to the amount of protein of like a 22-ounce steak.
So let me ask you this, right? Number one, I would argue that if you are choosing to eat steak at dinner, it's because you like the taste and or maybe it's convenient. I wouldn't argue that there's any actual nutritional benefit to you eating that steak, right? But to argue about the how much steak you need, right? Do you know how much protein you're getting a day?
How many grams?
Do you track your protein? Yeah.
Yeah, how many grams? Like I'll probably around like 60. Probably around 60 grams a day. That's
so you get 60 grams of protein a day. Okay, which is perfect because most people overconsume protein.
Yeah.
So for a man, all you need is 60. If you're an athlete, maybe a little more, whatever. But do you know how easy it is to get 60 grams? So I eat mostly fruits.
Okay. Hey, what's up?
I eat a lot of fruits, a lot of grains. I get 100 grams of protein a day. and I'm not even trying. I don't take a protein supplement. I don't even lift. It's incredibly easy to get enough protein that you need for muscle building.
But you just said you have to eat a lot. See, when people like try and cut down,
When did I say
you
that?
eat a lot of protein. Like,
No, I said I eat a lot of fruits. I'm saying
eat a lot.
even with low protein foods in my diet, I'm still hitting 100 grams of protein. My actual calorie intake is not high.
How many apples, like there's protein in apples, correct?
Sure.
How many apples would be the same amount as like a 10-ounce steak?
Why are you eating apples? For protein.
Why? You said there's protein in them though.
No. So there is, but if you're looking for high protein foods, you wouldn't eat an apple. Apples are great for antioxidants, great for fiber, great for carbs. It's not a high protein food. Just like you wouldn't eat, beef lard to get your protein, because that's super high in fat. So
What would you sub out for beef?
tofu, tempeh, black beans, chickpeas, lentils, edamame.
Do you know how many grams of protein are in like a cup of beans?
Yeah, in a cup of beans, it's about 20, 25 grams.
25 grams.
Yeah, so because I know I eat half a cup of soybeans a day, and that's about 10 to 15. So in a whole cup, it's at least 20 to 30. And that's nothing. A cup of soybeans is not, especially mixed with rice, mixed with different things. But back to the point, you also mentioned the efficiency, right? So while animal products are maybe more protein dense, because it's literal muscle, like it's like if I took a chunk of my muscle, it's protein, it's pure protein. The actual efficiency to produce those products is significantly worse, right? So when you look at how much resource it takes, like water, land, feed, to produce beef or pork or chicken, it's incredibly less efficient or incredibly more inefficient than other forms of
Don't you grow crops on land as well? You need like a lot of land to grow crops, and you also need water to feed those crops. And on top of that, you need to pay for the diesel for the trucks to mow the crops. And if you don't use trucks, then you use horses.
So when it comes to crops, again, like I mentioned, if you look at any type of environmental research, beef, chicken, pork, compared to all of the other crops, it's incredibly inefficient to produce. So even with all of the things they factor in that, it's still incredibly inefficient because we slaughter about 80 billion land animals each year, right? 80 billion. That's 10 times more than there are people on the planet, right?
How many do we produce a year though?
Well, if we slaughter 80 billion, we're producing 80 billion, right? Because we got to meet the demand. But back to, I was going to address the crop thing. The majority, I'll look at soybeans, but it's a lot of other crops. The majority of soybeans, over 70%, is grown and fed to animal agriculture, to livestock. So we actually have to feed 10 times more animals than there are people in order to then kill them. So you see how there's a middleman? Instead of eating the crops ourselves and repurposing land, we'd have a lot more food. And this is statistically backed. We'd have a lot more food if we just ate crops versus eating animals and crops.
So what are we going to do with all the animals though?
Right, so in terms
There's
of,
such thing as overpopulating, correct?
not with cows, chickens, and pigs.
When they die, where do their bodies go?
So
They're just going to be left in the plains, just...
So the idea behind veganism is it would happen gradually, and as the demand gets lower, the breeding gets lower, so the population would regulate. Also, cows, chickens, and pigs, there's no risk of overpopulating unless we because they're not wild, they're not natural. Also, in terms of overpopulation, a lot of that is over-exaggerated to justify hunting. But again, you keep bringing up these kind of niche points. I would like to get back to the actual ethical argument, which is, what is your justification for killing sentient animals when you don't need to survive or to thrive?
Because I rather eat meat.
Okay.
I
So
rather eat meat.
you like it?
I do.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So
would love
do you
a nice-
think that liking something
I think vegans are going to destroy this economy.
doesn't make any sense? But I'd love to talk to you after.
I thought it was about Egypt. That's why I came
Do you think that? So you said just because you like it? Do you think liking something is a justification for an action?
Well, you like eating vegan food, right?
No. So I do like vegan food, but
You don't like eating it?
No, I do. But I didn't stop eating animal products because I liked vegan food better. I stopped eating animal products because I couldn't justify the harm we were contributing to those animals. So when I ask you, oh, why do you do it? Oh, I like chicken. Do you think that liking, so I could, what you're allowing there, right, is because you have to apply your reasoning consistently. So if you say, hey, why are you kicking that puppy? Hey, why are you abusing that other sentient animal? And I said, well, I just like it, right? Do you think that's a justification?
Yeah, because I like eating meat. If I want to go and get steak, because I can get steak.
So you think that if you saw me kicking a puppy, and you asked me, hey, why are you doing
I'm not
that?
eating a puppy, am I?
Okay, why wouldn't you eat a puppy?
Because I don't like puppy.
But
Some other places in the world, they eat dog.
right, so you
Like
wouldn't.
in China and other places, they eat
But
dog.
why wouldn't you eat a dog?
Because that's just not pleasing to me.
But why not? Have you ever tried it?
No, I just don't want to.
But why not?
Because I don't want to.
But what is the difference between a dog and a cow, where your brain immediately goes, I don't want to eat a dog,
There isn't
but
any.
your
I've
brain.
eaten dog, dude. It's
Hold on.
pretty fucking good. It's dishearteningly good. When I was out in Korea, what?
Where can I get some?
I don't know if you can in America, but like, have you ever been up in South Korea? They serve in some of the like lower end districts, and you get some of the nice hole in walls. They serve dog, and they do it slow roast style. Dude, it's fucking good.
Damn.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you next. But the question is, right? If you said you, and I know you're kind of playing into that, but I can tell you wouldn't eat a dog, right? So you wouldn't pay for a dog to be killed. You might eat it if it's there, but you wouldn't pay for a dog
In
to
some
be killed.
places in the world, that's the only food they have.
But I'm testing your morality. I'm not testing people in
Maybe
China.
if I were in China and
No, but
I wanted to get some
right.
meat.
But that's being socially, that's a social norm. I'm asking your morality. Your morality is I would not eat a dog. I would not pay for a dog to be killed. That's what you just said, right? So I want to know what the difference is morally. They're both sentient. Pigs and cows can actually be more intelligent than dogs. What's the difference between where that leads your brain to go, oh, I would never eat dog meat. I would never pay to eat dog meat, but I am perfectly fine and I enjoy doing it for cows and pigs and
Yeah,
chickens.
because they taste good.
But cows,
bacon. I would
but
love
dogs
ribeye.
can taste good. If I thought dogs could taste good,
If dog
then I could
tastes
do.
good and I could get dog, then I think I would probably eat dog. Because if it tastes good, then that's what I like.
So if you walked into a grocery store and the only animal product in there was dogs and cats, and then the other food was vegan, which one would you choose?
Dynasty changed their name when they got caught serving cat for the third time. If you eat Chinese
Yeah,
food limit,
I think I've eaten Chinese food there.
Yeah.
So I've eaten cat.
So again, I'm going to ask you the question: if you walked into a grocery store and there was dogs and cats, that was the only meat available, and then there was vegan food, which one would you choose?
I would choose the meat.
Really? You would choose the dogs and cats?
Really? I would.
Okay. So if you're consistent, right? So if you would eat, are there any sentient animals you wouldn't eat?
Probably like snake or like a lizard because they're like probably gross.
No, not because of growth. Because of I'm saying, is there anyone you wouldn't want to eat because you care about that animal?
they catch them up in Iceland.
No.
Okay. So if you're okay with eating all types of animals, I'm gonna step it up a notch, right? What is the trait that separates other sentient animals to humans that justifies what we do to those animals, abuse them, kill them, use them for however we want, and doesn't allow that for humans? What's the trait?
So statistically proven, if you look at it, there's something called a food chain, and the humans are at the top of the food chain. So there's animals in their species. Do lions eat each other?
They have, yeah. But not typically, but they have.
They don't, exactly.
Yeah.
They don't typically eat each other.
Sure.
I typically would never eat a human.
Sure.
And there's people that have eaten human before.
So what you're saying is your justification there, your trait is might equals right. Because we're at the top, we can.
Because we're at the top, we can.
Okay. So if there was somebody who is dumber than me, weaker than me, less intelligent, less aware than me, can I do what I want to them because might equals right?
That's up to you.
So you don't see a
Should
moral
you?
issue?
Should you? No, you shouldn't.
That's what I'm asking. So do you see anything morally wrong with that?
Because we are the same species.
Okay.
You can't
So-
do that to the same species.
Why not?
Why would you?
If I'm using your justification, you said we can do these, even though these sentient animals can feel pain, feel joy, experience things. You used the justification, well, we can do it because we can, we might equals right, and we're better than them, right? We're stronger, we're bigger, we're at the top. What I'm asking is, right, there is also hierarchy within humans, right?
All right.
So just because there is somebody who is quote unquote lesser than
Once
me.
again, we are the same species.
Okay.
The
So,
same species typically don't tend to eat each other, even though they're at the top of the hierarchy.
so I asked you, what is the trait that separates our species from other species? It's because there's something called speciesism, which is discrimination just like racism, homophobia, sexism, where just like how we discriminate against other humans just because of an arbitrary trait that we deem different or deem immoral, speciesism is drawing a line between certain species of animals, even though they all can experience, even though they can feel pain, feel joy, but drawing a line between certain species of animals just because they're different. we are animals. We are sentient animals. Just because we are stronger, more intelligent, we are more aware, doesn't justify abusing and killing billions of animals that can feel pain, feel joy, experience life. So again, if you're saying that might does not equal right, might only equals right for other animals, not humans, that's an inconsistency, right? My channel is called Logical Consistency. So that means that that means that whatever you use has to be applied consistent, and it's not.
Think about like attacks from animals towards humans, like shark attacks, like wildlife animal attacks.
Yeah.
Think of that.
Sure.
Do you think of that?
Okay, what does that have to do? So I'm not saying you can't defend yourself. If a cow
I'm not
breaks
saying
in,
not defend myself. I'm just saying
No,
they
you
were
should.
also looking for a bite to eat.
that's fine, but you're not a lion. Lions rape each other. Lions shit outside. Lions eat gazelles raw from the inside out. You don't do any of that. You're wearing a Plymouth North hat. You're wearing Converse. You go to the gym.
Yeah.
You have access to Stop and Shop. To compare yourself to a lion
They
is
just
so.
haven't
Hold on.
evolved. Thousands of years ago, we did that as well, but
Right.
we evolved.
And that's why we
That's
don't
why
have
we're
to
at the
do it.
top of the food
No,
chain.
thousands of years ago we also enslaved humans, but that doesn't mean we need
did.
to do it. We don't have to do it
Evolved.
anymore.
We evolved.
Right, and
They
we're
just
evolved.
haven't evolved.
I'm saying we're evolving to the point where we don't have to continue to contribute these harms. It's not a necessity anymore, right? So if you're saying we evolve, if we evolve so much, we don't have to continue to kill these billions of sentient animals. And again, your only justification is, well, we're on the top, so we can do it. I can make that argument in so many different scenarios. Well, I'm on the top, so I'm just gonna break this dog's neck and eat it alive.
You can do it if you're into that. You can do it, man.
but it's
That's
immoral.
all you.
No, there should be laws protecting sentient animals from animal abuse.
Well,
Do you not agree with that? Are you for animal abuse?
there's a difference between animal abuse and animal consumption.
So would you argue that killing a sentient animal is not abuse?
What would
Ending a sentient life prematurely that doesn't want to die is not abuse?
what is it being used for? You have to think about.
Okay. So
Is
again,
it being used to feed a family?
okay.
What is it being
When
used
you don't need to kill that animal to feed. So in the world we live in, there's two options, right? I just want to see if you track this, right? There's two options. So option A, that family can be fed without killing a sentient animal. Option B, that animal can be fed by killing a sentient animal. They have the choice. They have the access. They have all the nutrition. Which one is more immoral? Obviously, I don't care what you say, clearly with the logic, the one where they kill the sentient animal even though they don't have to is more immoral because you're ending a sentient life prematurely that doesn't want to die.
Okay. So can you also justify other animals killing other animals?
No, so I would even argue, so like let's say humans are on
So
a...
what are other animals gonna do? Because they can't.
I would love to answer the question. I'd love to answer the question. So just like how, like, I'm sure you've heard of this, where humans are on desert islands, or they fall in a plane crash, and they eat other humans, right, to survive, right? So I would argue, I'm sure you would, that eating another human is an immoral action. But that person might live with that immoral action to save their own ass, right? Would you say that sounds about right? Like, killing another human is immoral, but they do it because they don't want to die. Would you argue that that's... Okay.
Self-defense.
Kind of, yeah. It's perseverance.
Live or die.
Right, exactly. So in the same case with the animals, they not only is it not as bad because they don't have moral agency. So lions don't have. Actually, I can't say that, but I would guess that lions don't have the same ability to perceive right and wrong.
So they're
to
less than us?
No. So their cognitive ability, they don't have the ability to perceive right and wrong. Doesn't mean they
So
deserve.
they have disabilities?
Yeah. No, not disabilities. Their cognitive function is just lesser. We're smarter than lions, obviously. I'm not. So there's this. You're trying to say that you're trying to say that I'm saying that humans are just like other animals. We're not. I'm saying that humans are enough like other animals to where we shouldn't be killing all of these other animals. But back to the lion thing. Lions don't have the same moral agency, right? Obviously, we can weigh right and wrong. Lions can. I'm guessing. But also, again, they're in a survival situation. A lion eating a gazelle from the inside out is completely fucked up and completely immoral. I would argue that's super immoral.
But don't animals also need to consume an excessive amount of protein?
What do you mean?
Most animals need to consume an excessive amount of protein. Like my dog, her dog food has excessive amount of protein in it.
I would have to see some research. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think that like a huge 500-pound grizzly bear would be able to consume or just live off of berries all day?
Okay, so I like how what you're doing is something called dodging, right? So I like how you are taking the argument, you're taking all accountability, all of the moral discussion away from you, away from humans that
But
have
it
moral
has to be
agency.
done. They have to kill other prey for
But
them to
do
survive.
you? That's what I'm asking. Do you?
Do I eat other prey?
No. Do you have to kill other animals to survive? Yes or no? Yes
I don't
or no?
have to.
You don't have to, so why do you do it? What's your justification?
Because I can.
Okay, but you could use that argument for anything, man. I could say, hey, why'd I kick you in the nuts just now? Because I could. That doesn't mean that doing that is moral.
A grizzly bear can eat 1,000,000 berries, but you know how long it would take for him to gather 1,000,000 berries.
But again, I'm not talking to, even when we look at humans, I'm not talking to Africans that have food scarcity and sickness and disease. I'm talking to you. You just came out of a restaurant or a
And
bar or whatever you did.
Had some meat. It was pretty good.
Right, but you could have easily chosen rice and beans or a vegan alternative. And
But
again,
I didn't want that.
okay, but just because you want something, I might want something immoral. That doesn't mean it justifies that immoral action. So what I would urge you again, like you keep saying might equals right, and
What's the
because
difference between moral and immoral and right and wrong?
I mean, the right and wrong is just a simpler way to say it.
Simpler way to say it?
Yeah, right and wrong means immoral or moral, essentially. Yeah, just right and wrong is just a simpler way to say it. So I would say it's wrong to commit rights violations to sentient animals that can feel pain, feel joy, experience things when we don't have to, especially. And it is right to let them live their life, not breed them by the billions, not abuse them by the billions, not kill them by the billions. And I would say that unless you have a justification besides might equals right, which, again, how logic works, right? So if I say, oh, if I use a reason to justify an action, that means that other actions are justified because of that reasoning, right? So when you say, oh, might equals right, that means that I could use might equals right to justify other actions. And I would say we can both think of horrible things that we could justify. All right, but if you gotta go, man, I appreciate the talk here. I'll give you a card.
I'll take a card.
There's nutrition information. There's other videos on my YouTube. So thank you. Nice talking to you, man.
Nice talking to you.